Hi everyone. I'm coming to talk to you because we're at a historic crossroads once again in the life of Rock Point Church. It's amazing how God leads us up to these points and then just says, what are you going to do? Well, over the past 2 years, that's really been the case. If you happen to have missed the last weekend's, as of this filming, last weekend's message and weekend services, then I'd like you to go back and at least listen to that. You can find that on our media page at rockpointchurch.com and go back and listen to the message and hear all that's behind this. But I wanted to bring you up to date through video to help everybody in our church family know what's going on. Over the last 2 years, after we purchased the 10 acres of property that we own here in Leander, we purchased that for 2 years on a 2-year note as an owner finance. That was going along great relationship with our owner of the land, and everything was going really well with that. As we came close to the maturity date of that note, the owner came to us and told us, listen, I have received a large bill that I have to pay and I need to call the note due. Now there's a lot that goes on behind that. Again, if you'll listen to that message from March 21st, you'll hear all that's going on behind that. What I want to do today is take you from where we are today. So as of last Sunday, I stood before the church and I asked you to do 3 things. One, I asked you to pray. I asked you to sacrifice equally with me. And then I also ask that we move forward together and that each one of us explore how God would want to use us in the future of the life of Rock Point Church. So as of last Sunday, we took on a $125,000 note to pay off our property and put our property into our name. Now the way we did that was through private funding. And what we're intending to do is to take those notes down one by one over the next 90 days. So I challenged everybody to think about how we could do that as a church. As a matter of fact, in that service, and you'll find on the Reverb page that you can get to at our website as well, that there's a download about the top 10 ways that you can be involved, ways that you can find what you can do to help our church get over this river that we're standing in front of, that we begin to wade into. We're asking God to do a miracle and asking God to do something significant through us to be able to take down these notes before the end of June. I'm so excited about where that leaves us. Seems like this huge task. It seems like this raging river out in front of us. But on the other side, just like in Joshua's day when God told him, step into the Jordan River and walk across, on the other side there was a land that was promised to them. And they could go and inhabit it, and they would live all the rest of their days there in that land. And it was this beautiful land. Well, we're kind of in that same situation. We've got this beautiful piece of property. We've got this, what looks like somewhat of a raging river in front of us. And we feel as though, because of the circumstances, God has said, I want you to step into the river. Well, as of last Sunday, that's what we did. We stepped into the river together. And I invited you as our church family to step into the river with us and to wade across this river and expect God to do a miracle. We committed 2 years ago that we would buy this property, and we made commitments to what is known as Reverb, letting your life be heard. Now, that's been going pretty well over the last couple of years, and we're coming into our final year of that campaign. And many of us made commitments that we've been working on. Many of us, our circumstances changed. Many of us, we've had different things happen that have caused us to have to be able to adjust some of those things. Some people have been able to do more over the course of the last 2 years, and that's been an amazing ride. Our number one goal in Reverb was to pay for our property, and that's where we stand. That in 3 short months, in 90 days, we could have that goal, that first goal of Reverb, accomplished. Well, that would be exciting as a church, because the next step for us would be to begin to find out and begin to discover all that it'll take from that point on for us to be able to break ground on our property. There are certain things we have to do with the city. There's a lot that we have to do in our financing to be prepared for that. But we can't really do any of that until we've got this property taken care of. So I come to you today through this method to tell you we're in a 90-day land challenge as a church. In every possible way we can to be able to, over the next 90 days, raise $125,000 to take us to own our land outright. And that's where we stand. So I'm very excited about it. I'm not scared about it, and I don't want you to be scared about it, because God says He's not the author of fear, the author of confusion. But where real love is, all fear goes away. I love this church. I love you as this church. And I know that you love this church as well. And I ask you to pray with me every day about what it is God is trying to show us and teach us, and what it is as individuals we should be doing. I also ask you to sacrifice. I'm not asking you to give the same amount of gift as everybody else. I'm just asking you to sacrifice as much as everybody else. Now, my wife and I have committed that over the next 3 months, we'll give $5,000 towards this. I don't have $5,000 to give, but that's what we said we'll give. That's what we feel like God's calling us to do. So I waded into the river first, and I'm asking you to wade in with me. And I'm asking you to sacrifice equally. Many of you, $5,000 seems like so far beyond anything you could do that it's insurmountable. That's okay. That's my level of sacrifice. All I'm asking you to do is come to the same level of sacrifice, not the same gift. For many of you, giving $5 a week, just not going to Starbucks once a week, is what God would call you to do. Others of you, you have twice or 3 times, you've got $20,000 you can put your hands on like that. And we're all coming from different backgrounds. We're not talking about an amount. We're talking about sacrifice. Sacrificing for a future generation. Go and listen to the message from Sunday. I think it'll help a lot in explaining more of the details of what we're talking about. So would you pray with me? Would you sacrifice with me? Would you see this church move forward in a new way? And I'm asking you to join me as we kick off this 90-day challenge. It's a 90-day land challenge. Now, everything we give, if you made a commitment to Reverb, will go towards your Reverb commitment. If you haven't made a commitment to Reverb, it's a great time to start. Now, let me tell you one caution here that I want all of us to know. We can't quit doing our weekly and daily ministry around Rock Point for a piece of property. One of our values has always said that people are more important than property and buildings, and we still believe that. We will not be able to stop what we're doing in order to do this. It has to be above and beyond, and that's why we call it sacrifice. So if you're a giver, if you're a tither, then I ask you to continue to do that. If you've never given a cent to this church and tithing is not something you do, then I'm asking you to try that for 90 days. Let the ministry of the church go on. A piece of property is a wonderful tool, but it's just that. It's just a tool. So we want to take this property down without a doubt, but we can't stop serving people and loving people and helping people while we do it. So I'm asking you to continue to be faithful in your tithes and in your offerings. And above and beyond that, we will take this property and possess this land and be able to move forward with God's plans for our church on this piece of property. I'm looking forward to that day. It's going to be a celebration at the end of June, and I'm looking forward to that. Would you join me in that? Would you join me in making this happen? It's going to be a great day. Thanks so much for watching.